So GamerGate. First of all, you'll pardon me for a moment. Yeah, that's me patting myself on the back for discussing the topic of corruption in gaming journalism, specifically at Kotaku and Destructoid, a good 3 fucking years ago, long before GamerGate had hashed their first tag, and without resorting to personal harassment or bedroom drama that is none of my fucking business. That said, while I don't consider myself of the movement, if you cats are sincere on this subject, I do believe it's half past time you articulated your specific position and did so with alacrity, because to most folks on the outside leering in, your movement is looking gold dust circa 1996 ambiguous, and I believe it comes back to the masthead of the movement, your title. There's a reason I entitled my series The Downfall of Gaming Journalism, and not the Anita Sarkeesian Happy Fun Time Ideological Obfuscation Hour. Gamergate is too nebulous a term in my opinion. You need a razor-sharp point articulated with laser precision, preferably by a devil-may-care, metalhead, roguishly handsome, svelte ne'er-do-well with a buzzsaw wit, inimitable personal style, and a bitchin' 2-for-1 deal at the cosmetics counter at JCPenney. Don't judge, it's 2014. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. I won't be 1/5 that deluded or self-important. At least not until the escapist check clears. The need to be concise and fanatically adhere to specifics isn't due to any incoherence in your own message, though. It's due to the shitbag tactics of your opposition. Simply put, they have taken a discussion about a handful of very specific instances of irrefutably proven journalistic misconduct perpetrated by men and somehow made it about feminism. It's the oldest debate tactic in the book, folks. If you can't win the debate you're having, jete on over to a debate you're having and win it. Or at least one that you can rely on mainstream media to break out the big guns for in your compulsory fucking defense. And they certainly are. If your evidence is steadily eroding, if your grasp of the facts has all the self-assured steadiness of Michael J. Fox during a volcanic eruption, you go ahead and change the debate by employing facts you do have sturdy command of. If you've broken every campaign promise you ever made, further pursued illegal wars you yourself decried in the past, and alienated half the electorate in the process, well, hey, look how white, rich, and Mormon that guy is. That's why we're somehow debating the merits of modern feminism in a discussion about how a blithering profligate male asshat from Kotaku didn't volunteer to his boss the fact that he was banging the subject of several of their fucking articles. And the coterie of contrarian Colbert-coddling cunt flaps supporting Sarkeesian out of spite, the aforementioned journalistic impropriety is not that some shitbag hipster at Kotaku was railing a bitch while he was writing about her. So you can head it on back to that timeline discrepancy you all love to regurgitate all you fucking like. Well, you see, Razor Fifth, that article by Nathan Grayson was written months after their relationship had concluded. Yeah, that's swell, Nightwang, and unlike anything else I read on Kotaku, let's go ahead and assume that for once it's actually fucking true. Who gives a front flipping fuck? Are you actually suggesting that if a correspondent for ABC, Fox, or NBC News was being rammed by a member of Clinton's cabinet during the Lewinsky scandal, for example, they wouldn't be compelled to report that fact to their fucking boss? I mean, I don't give a 17th of a shit if they're actively covering the cabinet at the time or not. It's their obligation to voluntarily recuse themselves before they're presented with a conflict of interest. As Kotaku editor-in-chief and my personal favorite member of the Lollipop Guild, Stephen Totillo, has proven through his own fucking Twitter feed, Nathan Grayson did not volunteer an electron of that information until he was confronted with it, as in against his will, as in by a fucking whistleblower. There's your journalistic corruption. Not blowjobs for benefits. Nathan Grayson committed the first deadly sin of gaming journalism, and at least one of the fucking biblical ones, and every day he remains employed at Kotaku removes a glacier-sized portion of credibility from a website that didn't have a thimbleful to fucking begin with. And has harassment and even worse taken place in the name of this movement? Absolutely. Harassment and grotesque, unconscionable violations of privacy have taken place in offensive figures targeted by the movement as well, proving only that there is not a party in existence that assholes don't turn up to. It doesn't mean you call off the party, folks. The 2000 Democratic National Convention was penned in by rioting and protests, and there was sweeping riots across all of LA, but you You simply do not halt the nomination process simply because Rage Against the Machine needs to promote their new album. I mean, social change. I mean, fuck, I seem to remember back in 2004 during the Hate Bush protests seeing a shitload of busted out windows in downtown Phoenix courtesy of fringe elements of the protest movement. I don't remember seeing these folks calling for the end of that movement. Accusations of harassment aren't invalid, not at all, but your problem, may I suggest, is not actually with the movement. It's with the act of harassment itself. The law hasn't caught up to the internet yet, folks. I vehemently agree that it's ridiculous that if I go 50 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, I could wind up paying upwards of $200 in traffic fines, but if I post someone's address, school schedule, and child porn of them online, unless the FBI takes time out from prosecuting drug kingpins and corporate racketeers and takes an actual interest, ain't shit gonna happen. You want to be an activist? Push for a well-funded, well-staffed cybercrime division in every police station in America with the full ability to coordinate with like divisions across the globe. Sure, hacktivists can cower behind proxy upon proxy, but I tell you what, you devote an entire division of law enforcement to finding these creeps in the same way that forensic science is caught up to the modern serial killer, the cops are probably gonna pick up a few tricks, folks. You subpoena a few of these land whales, impose the internet equivalent of traffic tickets and perhaps even jail time in severe cases, and see if doxing and swatting isn't cut in fucking half over the next 5 years. The point is, we see this same behavior in every societal subset and debate, from radical feminism to My Little Pony, so why would a divisive issue like fucking GamerGate be any goddamn different? GamerGate, not the most coherent cabal in my opinion, but I will say the fuck out of this. I'll take an incoherent truth over perfectly lucid lies any day. I'm Razorfist. God fucking speed.
Singular is his money. Got your future wrapped up tight.